In the long and storied history of Freemasonry, the matter of regularity has often been a dividing line, a fulcrum on which the balance of recognition teeters. Nowhere is this more evident than in the intertwined legacies of the Prince Hall-affiliated Grand Lodges and the most worshipful National Grand Lodge, Prince Hall Origin, both tracing their lineage to African Lodge number 459. The discourse on what constitutes regularity versus what does not has long been a subject of heated discussion, particularly in the modern age, where conversations unfold in the vast, often ungovernable realm of the internet and social media. Here, passions flare, and decorum is often cast aside in favor of zealotry. It has been long maintained that the concept of regularity, far from being an immutable truth, is in reality a political instrument, wielded as a means of exclusion as much as it is of inclusion. However, it is worth stepping away from the emotional tenor of the debate and instead examining the matter with measured scrutiny. In this endeavor, we shall take as our standard the principles of regularity as codified by the United Grand Lodge of England on September 4th, 1929, and test the National Grand Lodge Prince Hall Origin against them. The first of these principles states that a Grand Lodge must have been lawfully established either by a recognized Grand Lodge or by 3 or more regularly constituted lodges. The most worshipful National Grand Lodge meets this criterion unequivocally. The historical record is clear. The body was formed on June 24, 1847, in Boston, Massachusetts, with representation from the African Grand Lodge of Massachusetts, the First Independent Grand Lodge of Pennsylvania, and the Hiram Grand Lodge of Pennsylvania. These lodges, themselves with undeniable lineage, tracing back to the original charter granted by the Grand Lodge of England, provide a firm foundation of regularity. A further stipulation requires that a belief in the great architect of the universe, along with his revealed will, be an essential qualification for membership. Here again, the National Grand Lodge stands in firm compliance, as this belief is both explicitly stated and adhered to in all subordinate Grand Lodge petitions and interviews. Another pillar of regularity demands that initiates take their obligations upon or in full view of the open volume of sacred law. The National Grand Lodge abides by this without deviation. Its members take their oaths upon the Holy Bible, ensuring strict adherence to Masonic tradition. Regularity also insists that the membership of the Grand Lodge be composed exclusively of men, and that it have no Masonic intercourse with bodies that admit women. This too is in keeping with the National Grand Lodge's structure, where membership is strictly male. While there exists an affiliated national chapter of the Order of the Eastern Star that includes women, this auxiliary organization does not affect the Lodge's compliance with the principle. The principle of sovereign jurisdiction, the necessity for a Grand Lodge to have full and independent authority over the craft degrees within its domain, is another key tenet. The National Grand Lodge, as enshrined in its constitution and bylaws, stands as the highest authority over the craft within its jurisdiction. It alone grants warrants to state Grand Lodges, mirroring the provincial structure employed by the United Grand Lodge of England. There exists no Supreme Council or other entity that exerts control over its authority, reinforcing its adherence to this principle. The requirement that the 3 great lights of Freemasonry, the volume of the sacred law, the square, and the compasses, be present whenever a lodge is at work, is observed faithfully. The National Grand Lodge ensures these essential symbols are always displayed, with each degree accompanied by an appropriate biblical verse. Masonic regularity also prohibits the discussion of religion and politics within the lodge. This, too, is a standard upheld by the National Grand Lodge and its subordinate lodges, ensuring that the lodge remains a place of unity rather than division. Lastly, adherence to the ancient landmarks, customs and usages of the craft must be maintained. The National Grand Lodge, with its constitution and bylaws serving as a guide, ensures that these traditions are rigorously followed, leaving no room for deviation from the established practices of Freemasonry. Taken together, the most worshipful National Grand Lodge conforms to the principles of Masonic regularity, as set forth by the United Grand Lodge of England. Its lineage is clear, its adherence to essential Masonic precepts is evident, and its structure remains within the bounds of accepted governance. If the lodges that trace their origins to African Lodge number 459 and are deemed regular by virtue of that connection, then logic dictates that the same conclusion must apply to the National Grand Lodge.